This is a very old bridge.
Please walking over strong lovers only.
Here. Seems down here.
Joe Calhoun or the weather people do. They know their land, they know to work with the earth, and they do an excellent job of it. They've never, ever had times when they're without food. They know how to take care of those little moles and all those little things. They're not out to killing them. Just move them right along somewhere else. You know, they really live to be farmers and to have families, to have fun. Sometimes I had a lady say to me one time, well, they're doing nothing but work all the time, and these kids do nothing but work. Don't they want to rebel? They take work and make it fun. As I was sharing, you might need a quilt this winter. So you set up the quilting bed, you get a quilt started, you have some friends, neighbors, you get your daughters around, and you start talking. And you start quilting. And while you're quilting, you're talking and you're sharing. And you're having a good time. The guys get together, they're working in the field, there's hard work, they're doing that, but they get together in the barns in the middle, have a few smokes of the old cigar. That's about the most they'll do there. But they just sit around, they have guy talk. It's a good, wholesome, encouraging, supporting type of system. Your education system is one that, before 1950, the Amish and the English, that's considered English. The Amish and the English, hi, come on in. No problem. The Amish and the English went to school together. There were just one-room schoolhouses. In Pennsylvania, there was 120. As we grew in English and in Amish, the system decided we needed bigger and better schools. Gymnasiums, cafeterias. We had to provide, because of busing kids in on the school bus, we had to have all these things. And the bishop is sitting back and thinking, well, we don't need this. We're not going to 12th grade. We really don't need all this. In 1950, through a series of long, hard work, the Amish gained the right to call the Amish schools private. They bought 120 schools, one schoolhouse buildings, as they were. They also got it legal for them to do their own financial support. There was just a few requirements they had to meet. They had to complete up to 8th grade. They decided they could have them go to school from 9 a.m. to 3 because they needed to get out at 3 to start doing the farm chores and get things caught up. They didn't want to start before 9 because by 9 they'd have the farm chores done in the morning. And those cows, they need enough whether it's morning, noon, or night. So they got to make sure they're taking care of their animals and getting some chores done, and then they went to school. When they come home from school, they do their chores, and then they do their books, and then they go to bed. And they still will shoot marbles and have some fun. One of the biggest things that the government asked the bishops to prove was that your children will have the same kind of good education that our children have. At the end of this tour, I want you to tell me who has the better of the education. When they started off independently, they needed to have teachers. And so some of the mothers taught for a while until the girls completed 8th grade, or until they saw they were doing just fine. And what they did is a girl from the age of 16 to 22 is usually the teacher. Men are not teachers, only because for most men the pay of $35 a day isn't going to support a family. Plus he needs to get a farm and get his family established. After 22, and young girls generally marry, at that time she's to focus on her husband, her home, and her family. You don't mix the two. You don't have a career outside of home. Focus on that home life and that marriage. So you have an 8th grade girl graduating from high school. She'll take 1 year as an understudy, 1 to 2 years as an understudy at another Amish school. She'll sit beside this teacher and watch how the teacher instructs and teaches. And she'll come back that next year and teach this school. Arithmetic, reading, spelling, English, composition, health, history, music. Music, by the way, is not learning the notes. They sing praises to God. That's fine. German, vocabulary, phonics, social studies, nature studies, penmanship, memory. Now here's what the government said, what's a memory course? What's that? Well, the bishop said that's very important because when they're away from their family, when they're away from their church, when they're away and they're out in this English world, I want them to remember what we taught them so they don't get tricked or stumble into some wrong ways. It's very important to have a good memory. Desk order. Desk order is important because if your desk isn't in order and it's cluttered, so is your mind. Boy, would I have flown that one. They honestly believe that. They believe there's an order and there's a pattern to everything. When God created the earth, he had a system, he did it in order, so you should be in order too. Art class. Now, the bishop said there are some subjects, hi, come on in, have a seat. There's some things that need to be taught at home. It's important that they're taught at home, so when you go to school, respect needs to be taught. And so does responsibility, because if these three areas are taught at home, when your children come to school, the teacher just has to focus on this. She doesn't have to deal with all of that. So this is pretty much their course selections. When a child comes to school, they start at the age of 6. They start first grade. At home, everything is taught in Pennsylvania Dutch. So when this poor child comes for the first time, they're hearing English. The Amish teacher only teaches in English because that child has got to learn to adapt and communicate in the English world. So they must learn English. By the time you graduate, you're going to know English, German, and High German. High German is what the bishop reads from his Bible in church. High German alphabet is behind you on that back wall to the very left. It's a total different alphabet. There's nothing to be destructive and angered about. It's not there. They look to serve other people rather than what they're going to get. If I'm in the hospital and my bill's $27,000 and I've only got 14, the church will pick up the tab. You say, well, that's good stuff. But don't miss the point. I'm going to do what I can to get that money back as quickly as I can so that it's there for somebody else. They pay their bills. They don't have all the extras. If they don't have the electric bill, the car bill, all the insurance payments, they don't have all the things that we've got that are pretty heavy. They have each other. And they work with that. They're there for each other. If your spouse has a heart attack or a stroke, say it's your husband, some of those older boys are going to come out there and work that farm for him. Help him out. Your wife, you're sick, or maybe someone's dying in your family. They take turns coming in and sitting with them so that that person's never without somebody they know with them, and it's not a strain on you. If you've got parents that are elderly and can't take care of themselves, and there's like 13, 14, your brothers and sisters, you each take them for about a month. They spend time with you for a month. That way it's not a stress on your family, and it's not, they don't feel guilty because they have to be with you. They work together. That's pretty much the education system. 1st through 8th grade, respect, responsibility, and knowing your religion, your faith. They are great with us English folks. Probably the only thing that I've ever heard any of them say is, please don't take my picture, only because they don't want it to violate the biblical scripture of having no graven image of them. They'll talk with you. Tomorrow morning when you get out, and you're taking a drive on some of these back roads, or even right along 340, you'll see them all dressed up, walking to somewhere, wherever church is going to be that day. And you'll see them there walking, horse and teams. You wave, they'll wave. You know, the whole room. It starts with mom and pop, and it just keeps on going on down. You know, whole room of them. They're all heading somewhere, somebody's house. Maybe next time it'll be theirs. They're truly a unique people. We've had doctors and psychiatrists, and everybody come from all over here to study the Amish. Like they were aliens. You know, how do they do this? How do they survive with this kind of value system in 1995? It's worked for 300 years. So that is pretty much a big shell of what their education system is. If you have questions, thoughts, comments, anything you'd like to share? Anything you were looking for that I didn't touch on? You think you'd be able to speak by 8th grade 3 different languages? I have enough trouble with English. Yeah, they do 3 different languages. Okay, well, that concludes the school tour.
I wasn't here at the beginning. How long was it?
Well, just how long are their women pregnant? Well, 9 months like the rest of us. You know, I don't know why. She really thought they were totally different. You know, and it just took me back. That's probably true. It's every so many months you're pregnant again. And that is true. Someone once said, well, you know, the Amish women, how come they're always the ones that are big and heavy and the men are always so skinny? I said, well, because every so many months they're having a baby. They don't get to go to the gym and do a workout, you know, and do their aerobics and get back in shape. You know, they're having baby after baby after baby. And to them, that's wonderful. That is wonderful. Those babies are a blessing to them. And if they have handicapped children or mentally retarded, they keep those children right at home. Right at home with them.
Have you seen, or how about,
Yeah, that's double time, right?
really?
Work on Sunday, that's double time.
He's trying to be a bully. Moo. 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 Probably thinking, what's this guy mooing at me for? Great, cows. Look at something neat. Yep. Here we are in Amish country, and Jared's having a good time. Look at him. Oh man, what's my girl doing right now? Is she out with some other guy? No, she couldn't be. I'm the only one she's thinking of. I'm so cool. All the guys wish they were me. Man, if she could see me now. Wow, if she could see me now, she'd laugh. What's your girlfriend's name, Jared? Oh. What's that? What? Oh, okay. This is a neat little town. Quiet, for sure. And I think we're about to leave, so. Is this it? Adios?
Yeah, almost ready.
Ooh, cool, he has a blue shirt on.
Here's another one.
to film them, do they?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, shoot.
Hi. Wave to them. They wave?
She didn't want to. She kind of adjusted her glasses.
She did? She was like making
Kind of put her hand up,
Right.
adjust her glasses.
Wow, that's Amish people on it. There's horse doing on the roads.
That comes from the territory. And here comes Mom.
And Grandma.
What are you doing?
She eyeballed you.
Everything's
That's what I gotta
local.
do. Grandma was checking you out.
I should live around here. I am the lady. Think we should live here, kids, and Dad can come in.
Look at these freakers. Watch what they're doing. I went and got them. I waved to them.
Hey, kids, you hear what Mom said?